All right, what's happening, everyone? We have a interesting video, a little different than something that we've done before. We hope you all are doing well. We've been deep in new website mode. We've been deep in guitar modding mode. And we finally found some time to do some important guitar research.
Yes, very important research.
Very, very important. Like, we're talking earth-shaking level research, you know, Nobel Peace Prize kind of research. That level of important research. But sometimes we want to have fun. We always have fun, but we want to kind of take a little left turn. And so that's kind of what this video is about. If you saw the thumbnail, we've got some new GHS strings that we are trying out. And this is not a, you know, like, it includes paid promotion. GHS is not paying us for this. Disclosure, I guess we are dealers of GHS strings, but we usually use that dealership to buy them for the shop. It's not necessarily like we're selling them. So we're just kind of going to share our opinions on a couple of these ones that really, I don't know, they kind of stuck out to us. So I'll start with what I've got is the coated Boomers. So I've been a big Elixir string fan for a long time. I still am. But I wanted to check out their kind of coated version string, and so we've put that on some guitars. And we'll talk about what we put them on in a little bit, but then what is the other set that we've also put on? Yeah,
so I've got what's called their Sub-Zero Boomers, which, you know, the Boomers is just like what they call, it's kind of like their like flagship string, I think. And so those are coated Boomers, and these are Sub-Zero. You know, those are coated, so they feel a little better. Maybe they last a lot longer. And these are, it says that they have the brightness of stainless steel, you know, and there's like a process that they have that really kind of highlights that brightness. And I think we did notice that when we were kind of hearing them.
Yeah.
But, you know, we were on their website, and I think we were ordering some bass flat ones for a customer, and then we just saw these and we were like,
let's try them out.
Yeah, and there's some of my favorite players that use GHS strings, so it's like they can't be wrong. You know, these are some pretty cool strings, and I think when you can't find maybe your favorites, these are pretty cool to check out. Yeah,
yeah. So we've been, like I said, we've been a dealer for a while. We did put them on our guitars. They've kind of been the de facto between them and D'Addario's, kind of like the shop string, you know, is something that we have to put on customers' guitars after we switch out pickups. We've got a lot of demo guitars, and that's the other thing too, is we've been trying to find the, you know, the match for different demo guitars, trying to keep the strings fresh for customers that come in. And so that's kind of the reason behind both of these things. I guess we can just jump in. So we actually put 2 of these sets on 2 guitars and 2 of those sets on 2 guitars. And so I guess it's kind of like, not necessarily my guitars and your guitars, but it kind of is, right? So I'll start with kind of the 2 guitars that I put the strings on, and I think we'll do a part 2 of this video where we'll actually go through and kind of just play back and forth. It's kind of hard to do comparisons because I think all 4 guitars are very, very different. But I'll explain the guitars that I put the strings on and what I like about them, and then I guess you can do the same.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to see more content on that, that would be great. So I put the coated Boomers on the shop Strat, or my Strat, that I've had since the late 90s. I really wanted something that, you know, with that Strat, I know how it feels, I know how it plays, and so I really wanted to put the strings on there to kind of evaluate the strings, and took them home last night, kind of really liked the feel of them. I really like the slinkiness of the coating. I think more and more I've been really liking that. I don't like strings that are kind of rough on the outside, or the wraps are rough. And so the smoothness of the coating really feels good, sliding around, doing bends, especially as the frets on that guitar slowly started getting flat in a couple spots. It does feel really nice to kind of smooth across those frets, and even as they're maybe not as perfect as they could be. And so then I also took the Sub-Zeros and I put them on the Heritage. You've seen that green Heritage Les Paul style guitar that we've had in the shop. I put those on there because they have a brightness scale. If you've been to their website, they have a brightness scale, and they're kind of in that, like, to the, you know, the needles over here on the bright scale. And so I put them on that guitar because it's a dark guitar. I mean, we've kind of fought it in multiple different ways, just because it's kind of got a dark or muddy sort of overtone to it, I guess, or an undertone or overtone, however you want to say it. And so those Sub-Zeros actually did brighten the guitar up and bring a little bit more life to it. I don't know, I can't put a percentage on it, but it's probably, you know, at least 5 to 10% difference in terms of like brighter sound. And so that's been one of my first experiments into like trying to brighten up a guitar with strings only, you know, and so we'd already changed the pickups out. So it's kind of like this was sort of the thing that maybe pushed it over the edge.
Yeah.
So I was pretty happy with that. And again, 2 different sets that I put on, and both of my gauges were 10 to 46 on mine. So just to mention that, but again, we'll do a part 2 where we actually play through this. And again, I don't know that we're necessarily trying to show preferences in the strings and how those come across on a YouTube video. I have a feeling that's going to be pretty difficult to show, but again, just 2 guitar nerds sharing some opinions on kind of what the strings did. So, all right, you're up.
Yeah, and so, all right, so I tried the same strings in a different gauge, the 9 to 46, so kind of like hybrid lights is usually what people call them, and that's like 10s on the bottom and then 9s on the top, so you can still reasonably drop D and all of that good stuff. And that's just where I've been kind of hanging out lately. And I put the Sub-Zeros on my Friedman Telly, which is already kind of a pretty strident guitar, and it's got pickups meant to kind of like snag your pick attack, like really, you really hear it, make it stand out. And I've just had that guitar for a while now, and I kind of know what it brings, and I've tried different strings on it. I put 11s on it when I first got it, and then just kind of was like, I kind of have been getting out of the 11s a little bit just for hand reasons, but that's why there's lots of good strings out there that you can try and change things if you feel like, maybe I'm not getting along with this as much or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that really sounds really good with that guitar. You can really get the grindy tones out of it if that's what you're going for. And then I put the coated ones on the Novo Voltor J, the kind of the newest guitar that I've had, and that came with like 10 to 48s. I put the 9 to 46s on it. It still held up and kind of fell right into place. And I like the D'Addario XS strings. That's kind of like my bread and butter. But these, I think, are, you know, these coated GHS ones are a really good like alternative if maybe you can't find them or somewhere's out of stock, or, you know, there's lots of things that can happen. Yeah. But I really got used to the feel pretty quickly. And you know, I've gone back and forth with coated strings. I used to not think like, it's just kind of like a gimmick. But it really is nice when you change the strings on your guitar and you put it in the case, and, you know, if you don't circle back to that guitar in a week, like the strings still feel new.
It's still fun.
You don't waste like new string day, which is best day ever. But
yeah.
And yeah, we just had fun kind of putting the strings on the guitars. We were like, let's just do that before we do anything else today. And I feel like it really kind of boosted the morale for the rest of the day. And I don't know, I think that's important. And yeah, we're not like, oh, buy these strings. It's just kind of like, we had an idea and we thought it might be interesting, and we thought maybe there was some of you that would like to see kind of what we're doing. So
definitely, yeah, and we'll be kind of back with part 2, and as you saw kind of as we were talking, flying over a little bit of the guitar with the strings on it that we did. So we're kind of showing you the guitars as we talked about them there. But man, what a fun experiment to kind of do this like ×2 with different gauges, different guitars, and kind of try to evaluate it. I think one thing you said, and kind of I sort of touched on in the beginning, is just we know these guitars really well, and so that sort of helps you if you know a guitar, like you said, if you know a guitar and you want to make a change, like maybe strings would be the option. Do you guys have a favorite string brand? We'd love to know what you like below, because it's a polarizing thing. String gauges and brands and coatings, and does it make a difference? Does it not? I mean, I think that in some ways, excuse me, I feel like maybe I'm new in that in some ways, even though I'm not really new. I just kind of like, I've stuck with a few brands for so long, and then now in the last few years are kind of branching out and exploring some new things, right? So it's been a fun thing. We want to take you guys along for that ride, and let us know what you think of strings in general. If you think have opinions on GHS strings as well, we'd love to hear them. And yeah, that's all we got for today, but we'll be back with part 2 with some playing videos very soon.